and welcome to another episode of NASDAQ Spotlight. Joining today is Sabrina from BFM. You may recognize her. We also have one and only Jesse Bongiovi, co-founder of Hampton Water. This lovely rosé wine,
yes.
Not rose. I was about to say rosé wine sitting in front of us. So Jesse, thanks for joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We're going to talk about this wine, your leap into an industry. You said you knew nothing about wine coming into it.
Yeah.
And working with your dad,
Sure.
Bon Jovi himself. So tell us a little bit about how this got started, the idea for the wine.
Yeah, so, I mean, literally, I think like all great ideas, this kind of came to us at about 2 in the morning after we had been sitting out in the Hamptons for a little too long, enjoying some pink juice, as my dad would like to call it. And so he literally came out to me and offered me another glass of pink juice. And I said, no, listen, Dad, we don't call it pink juice anymore. We call it Hampton Water. And he was like, oh my God, imagine if somebody put that on a bottle. That would be so great. Someone should do that, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of looked at him. I was like, we should do that. Like, come on, let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And so the next morning, we woke up a little later than usual. And I said, hey, Dad, what do you think of that Hampton Water idea? I think it's a good one. Like, let's figure out how to do it. And he basically said, listen, like, I still have a day job. Leave me alone. Go figure out how this works and come back to me when you have, a more kind of complete idea. And so I met with everyone I could, met with somms, met with liquor store owners, met with distributors, kind of designed the whole bottle and figured out kind of a lot of the logistics, brought it back to him as a kind of fully formed idea. And I said, all right, listen, what do you think now? And he loved it, loved the design, loved the whole idea that I
The idea was sold right away? No convincing from your part? Or it was like,
no,
okay,
well,
let's do this.
I like to think it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
So I think that he really kind of saw the vision and saw the potential for it right away. And so when I brought him kind of the fully formed idea, he fell in love with it, and we kind of ran with it from there.
How did you pick Gerard Bertrand? Because you're with it also with a French
Yeah.
winemaker, Gerard Bertrand, which is
Very
big in
well known.
France.
For sure.
Why not an American one? Or tell
So-
us what is the
Sure,
good fit?
yeah. So, we basically just tried a lot of different rosés, as we kind of started this whole process. We literally just went to the liquor store and bought rosés from all over the place and
Oh, gosh.
sat around for a weekend and tried a bunch.
Right.
But I think deep down we always knew that we wanted it to be French. A lot of our favorite rosés at the time were from the south of France, and so it was always kind of in the back of our minds that we wanted it to be a French rosé. And then we tried a number of Gerard's. We tried his rosé first and really liked it. It's a very, very good wine. And then we tried a number of his other rosés, and then when we were able to actually be introduced to him, we fell in love with the guy, and we had a lot of similar kind of ideas about the industry and what we kind of envisioned for this project. And so it was a very easy fit once we really got to know him, and obviously the wine is very good, so it made it a pretty
What kind
easy
of like, we can see it's very pale. It's very important like to look at the color when you choose a rosé. Pale means paler, better. That's what it is,
For
right?
sure, yeah, and I think that it's just very drinkable. We wanted
It's
something
just like water.
that you could
Like
drink
water,
all day
like water,
long.
yeah.
Exactly, and I really think that we've come up with exactly that.
So I think Sabrina definitely knows a little bit more about the wine side.
Why do you say that?
But I'm curious to ask more from an entrepreneurial perspective. By now you're 23, you probably founded a series of companies, right?
No, this is my first shot at it, but I've been very blessed that it's been a good reception.
Yeah.
Is this something you wanted to do like the process of it? Is like because you had an idea, or because you always wanted to have an entrepreneur, a business, or what was first in this process?
Honestly, I would say that it really was the idea first,
Right.
and we got such a good reception when we initially came up with the idea that we were like, this would be dumb to kind of just leave this alone and not carry on with it. And so once we really started to pick up steam and people really reacted well to the idea, we knew that it was something that we kind of had a good hold on and that we didn't want to let go of.
I think there's a big learning point here about taking something from an idea and bringing it to fruition, and everything that you had to go through, meeting with all
sure.
these sommeliers,
Yeah.
all these experts in the wine industry. What's something that you took away delving into the wine industry?
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably my biggest lesson thus far has definitely been from my dad. And, being 23, I just got out of college and being kind of easily excited, I really wanted to, get it done as fast as possible. And so I was always trying to push everyone and say, look, it's great, let's just do it. It's a great idea, let's just do it. And I'd say the biggest lesson was that my dad was always saying, listen, once it's out and once you've done it, you can't take it back. So slow down, make sure that you really are very happy with it. Don't just finish it to be done, finish it so that it's right and that it's perfect. And so I think that that's been my biggest learning experience thus far, is to make sure that I take a step back and kind of take the deep breath and go, okay, once this is out, you can't take it back. So let's make sure it's perfect.
How'd you know it was perfect?
Just taste it.
Yeah.
I have yet to taste it, I'll admit. Sabrina has tasted it, so she knows. But how did you personally know, this is like peak? This
Well,
is ready?
I think that once we started showing kind of the label around to different people, and we went into different liquor stores and we're telling them the name and things like that, that they were very receptive to it. And I think that once you look at a lot of other rosés in the market right now, nothing really looks like this. And so we wanted something that really jumped off the shelves. We really wanted something that was very different, that people wouldn't forget. And I think that
Even the bottle.
we've done
Tell
that.
us, you created that, you designed the bottle, right? It's like a strawberry,
Yeah.
you told us at the...
Yeah, so the bottom is meant to be a strawberry, and that's sort of indicative of some of the flavors that you get in the
Right.
wine. But a big thing for me was actually the letter that appears on the front of the label. It starts, "Dearest friends, you've just picked up your new favorite bottle of wine." And it's intended to be kind of an invitation to anyone that picks it up. We want it to be something that you really have to hold close to be able to read. But basically, the idea is that it invites any customer or any kind of friend of ours that picks up our wine to kind of take part in the life that we're trying to bring to people. It's this kind of Hamptons lifestyle of relaxing, and we like to call it the exhale. It's when you get out there and you're sitting on the beach, or you're sitting on the porch, and you can kind of go, and this bottle of wine is something that we really wanted to embody that and to share with people.
Very cool.
But no mention of the Bon Jovi name on the bottle, right? This is
No.
intentional, right?
Yeah, that was really something that was important to us. I think that it would be easy to, well, not easy, but it's a little cheeky kind of to just put Bon Jovi on it and have it be Bon Jovi wine. We wanted
Right.
something that was a standalone product that didn't need his involvement, but if it had it, great. And so he's certainly been an unbelievable asset to have, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Yeah.
He's been very, very helpful, and certainly, getting a lot of awareness towards this. But we wanted something that, even without him, was still a great idea and a great product, and I think that we've done.
You're working with your dad, that we all know, Gerard Bertrand, which is very has a big personality. Who has the final word when you have a decision or?
That's a good one. I would like to say it's me.
Okay, let's ask your dad.
But yeah, right. But I guess you'll have to ask my dad about that one. I think he'd probably have a different answer.
Yeah, but even though you're the main guy, you're here. Your dad is on tour. Gerard is in France, so you're doing the day-to-day things.
Absolutely, yeah. I
You're
have
the
been
man in
running,
charge, right?
I have been running a lot of the day-to-day, which is a little stressful, but it's good. We have I have a lot of support when it comes to this project. Like you said, Gerard Bertrand, it's just a phone call away. And he has a vast knowledge of the wine industry, and even little things like we're planning on going to different markets and things like that. And I jumped on the phone with him the other day, and he was like, "Listen, you understand, we were talking about going down to Miami." And he goes, "You understand it's 100 degrees in Miami in July. Like, people aren't there." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, right. That's a good point, And so, little things like that has been very helpful to have him around. And then obviously having my dad around. The guy's launched a million products, and he's I like to think, a well-respected businessman. And so to have him in our corner to be very helpful has been an amazing opportunity for sure.
Now, I'm curious, what's the one thing, or maybe among the things that you didn't expect that comes with being a co-founder?
I would say probably being on camera as often as I have been. But, I think just a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of kind of sleepless nights and a lot of worrying that goes into launching your own project and doing something like this especially. But I'd say the biggest thing is just kind of learning on your feet. Like I said, we were pretty clueless about the wine industry. I think that we're starting to get a grasp of it now. But just being willing to learn every single day and being willing to, wake up the next morning and try to do even better than you did the day before has kind of been the goal this whole time. And so far it's been good.
And well, I was about to say, so far it's been pretty good because you were like sold out in certain parts of the world.
Yeah, our initial, our first shipment actually completely sold out. I think it was 700 cases in 48 hours. And so we had to rush in another order to start filling some back orders, which was a pretty amazing experience.
That's
I remember
a good thing to
the very
have, right?
first day, the very first day that I was out in the Hamptons, I was going around and selling to a bunch of different liquor stores out there. And I was with a sales rep from Southern, which is our distributor, and literally as the day went by, he kept showing me his iPad. He was like, this morning you were at 700 cases, you're at 500 cases, you're at 300 cases, you're at 200 cases. And then we went to the last store and he goes, we'll have to come back next week because there are no more cases in the warehouse.
Wow.
And so to have that happen in the first day, and then to be able to call my dad, and he was like, so, how was your day today? I go, well, it was actually pretty good. Let me tell you what happened today. So that was a pretty amazing experience, and to have that reaction has been incredible.
Right. And you're available now here in New York?
Yep.
Yeah, where can we get it?
There are a bunch. There's probably 75 liquor stores around Manhattan that have it right now. We just launched in New Jersey this week. Where else? We're up in Massachusetts. We'll be down in Florida, I think, next week. But it'll be basically the entire East Coast, and then Chicago and Las Vegas this year.
How about the West Coast? Because it's hot over there. They need some rosé.
Oh, they love their wine.
Well, we're going to have to make them wait one more year.
Right.
We'll see how it does here first, but hopefully we'll be over there soon.
So far, it's big. How is like reality versus expectations? Is it like so much better, or is like, oh, it was?
Well, I think that we have pretty high expectations for this, and so I think the reaction we've gotten so far has been incredible. But obviously, for us, the sky's the limit, and we obviously want to do as well as we can. And so, yeah, I would say that our expectations were high, but so far I think we've met them.
And that's the first step? You're going to have more product? Or I know it's
this is
just
the first
starting,
vintage. Yeah, this is the first vintage. So we'll deal with this before we start worrying about other
in
products.
10 years, where are you going to be? Still in wine industry or still an entrepreneur?
I like to take this thing week by week, to be honest with you. So, yeah, so right now this is our focus, but who knows? The sky's the limit.
Exactly.
Very cool. And then I'm just curious, working with your dad, what's something that you've learned from him? Obviously, you guys are working in kind of different industries at this point, but just like in terms of ethics and kind of like, coming out of college doesn't always necessarily tell you everything about life.
Right.
But like, what's something that you can take away from your dad as you've taken on this industry?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the biggest thing that he always kind of tries to push on me, and I sort of mentioned it earlier, was, make sure that you're really happy with something, because once you say it, once you do it, once you kind of put it out into the world, there's no taking it back. And so his big lesson to me this entire time has just been, don't rush into something because, you want to be fast or you want to be first. If you're going to make the best product, then it's going to be great. And if you take the time to make sure that it's great, then it will be, and so to not rush and to not just get it done to get it done has probably been the biggest lesson he's kind of taught me, and it's taken some time. We've been working on this thing for almost 2 years now, and so it's a lot of like, let's just get it done, I'm freaking out over here, Dad, like let's just finish it up. But to have him there to say, listen, take a deep breath, make sure that it's right, make sure that it's the best that it can be before you run out with it. Is the most important thing, and if that's the case, then you'll be successful, and that's really what he's kind of imparted on me.
Yeah, and you're certainly seeing the fruition of that, so congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm looking forward to checking this out. I'm right over in Jersey, so I'll definitely be
And he's a Jersey boy.
seeking the Hampton Water. So thank you so much for joining us, Jesse.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you, Jesse.
Sabrina, thank you
Lyanne.
for joining me. And NASDAQ followers, stay tuned for more programming from Facebook.com/NASDAQ. See you on the next episode of NASDAQ Spotlight.